everyone, this is Mindy Eggen for Scrapbook and Cards Today magazine, and today's video is sharing inspiration using the Let's Stamp Together kit for March 2024, which features these fun designs from Tailored Expressions. Taylor shared in a live video some inspiration to get you started, and my video today is going to be expanding on that, but I want to bring in some stencils from the Tailored Expressions collection. You can use what you already have in your stash or take advantage of the wonderful discount that Taylor has provided. Here is a quick refresher on the kit. We have this stamp set with all of these really fun and adorable images. There is a coordinating die set for those images. You have your inspiration card, and then there is also a stencil that's already included in the kit. I'm going to start by stamping out all of my images. I will be using the Tailored Expressions Oreo ink along with the Tailored Expressions white cardstock. I'll be using a mix of Olo markers and also my Copic markers to color in the images. Since I do go through quite a few different color combinations, I will provide a list of those color combinations for you over on the SCT blog for you to reference. Most of my coloring today is going to be either a 2-color combo or even a 3-color combo, just depending on how much space I have to color in the image. For smaller areas, I do like to try and stick with 2 colors, but for something like the bee where there's a little bit more space to work with, I do like to bring in 3 colors to really add in the dimension and shadows. Since there is a lot of coloring to do, I have sped up this process so you can slow this down at any time or pause if you are working on the coloring yourself. I'm going to put on some fun music to play while I color, and I will see you when I'm done coloring in just a bit. Now that all of my coloring is done, I'm going to take the coordinating die for each of the images, line them up over the image, hold them down with a low tack tape, and run them through my die cut machine. I personally like to add a little bit of dimension to these images outside of using foam squares, so when I die cut them out, I also die cut it out of plain white cardstock. I'm going to use my Connect glue that I have in a fine tip bottle to layer these images together. This is also a really great use to use your scrap cardstock. I'm also working on the Tailored Expressions teal embossing pad, which is a silicone mat. It kind of keeps my die cuts in place and it's easy to clean up. Now, since Taylor has generously provided a discount code for stencils for the Let's Stamp Together kit members that expires on April 24th, 2024, I thought I would show you some of the stencils and also the storage solutions. This is the Simple Storage Binder, and in it there are the Simple Storage sleeves and also those colorful dividers, which I haven't quite divvied up into my binder just yet. So I went through my stash and I picked out some that I thought would work with my cards. I have the Masking Cloudy Days stencil, Set the Scene Grass, Masking Circles, Breezy stencil, Masking Rectangles, and the Masking Square Windows. I'm going to start with the Masking Square Windows stencil. This is a two-piece stencil. You also get the negative pieces, but I'm going to be using the positive. I believe I have those in the right order. So I really want to fill in those open areas with color. I'm taking a piece of sugar cube cardstock cut to 4¼ by 5½. I placed a little bit of repositionable tape on the back just to secure that down to my glass work surface. Now on Taylor's stencils are etched lines, and these are very helpful for placing over your A2 size card front. You can either color them in to help make it stand out more, or I usually will kind of look down off on the side and I'll be able to see the etching. Once I have that lined up in place, I'm going to hold that stencil down with some Post-it tape. To do my ink blending, I am going to be using saltwater taffy, which is a very, very light blue, and applying that with a blending brush. So I'm picking up some of that ink with the brush, and I'm going to use circular motions to kind of blend onto the stencil. I'm also going to use that same teal embossing pad to hold my ink pad in place so it doesn't move around on my glass work surface. So I just went through and light-handedly applied that color, so it's going to be a very soft blue on my background. I'll then remove the stencil, and this is going to be my card front. All of these backgrounds are going to be very, very simple, but super cute. Next, I have another card front that I'm going to create, and this one is going to be using the masking rectangles. This one has two different sizes. I'm going with the smaller of the two. Again, I placed that over my cardstock, held that down with Post-it tape, and I'm going to bring in that saltwater taffy once again and ink blend in this entire open area of the stencil. This is going to create a really nice white border around that blended area. Then to step this up a little bit, I'm going to bring in an additional stencil. So this is going right over the top of my masking rectangle, and this is the Breezy stencil. Again, I'm holding that piece down with some Post-it tape, and this time I'm going to ink blend with Confetti Cake, which is just a little bit darker than the saltwater taffy, and I'm using the same blending brush to apply that ink. Then once I remove the stencil, you're going to see this beautiful design over our rectangle. To add a little bit more interest to this, I'm bringing in the bleed proof white, and I'm going to add a little bit of water to my work surface and also that bleed proof white ink and just flick this onto the background. After I remove my stencil, I'll set that panel off on the side to dry, and then I can clean up my stencils with a towel and some rubbing alcohol. For my third card front, which once again is a white piece of cardstock cut to 4¼ by 5½, this time I'm using the Masking Circles stencil and also the Set the Scene Grass. Then I do actually have a third stencil I'm going to bring in, which is the Masking Cloudy Days stencil. I'm going to start with the grass, and I went through and held down the circle stencil with the Post-it tape. I placed the grass over the top, held that down with the tape as well. And now I'm going to come in and ink blend with a Granny Smith ink. So this is a really nice kind of vibrant grassy green, again using a blending brush to just softly apply that color. I'll blend in that masked off area that's going to be my grass using that light color of green, and then I'm going to add a little bit of contrast by bringing in Pea Pod. This one I'm going to start down towards the bottom, and blend up towards the top of the grass, but still leaving that nice vibrant green in there. Then I will remove the grassy stencil, and in this Cloudy Days masking stencil, there are some negative pieces that I want to kind of add into my sky in my background. So first, I just took a towel to wipe up any of that excess green so I don't get that into my sky because I want to have a true blue sky. Here is that negative piece. This is just a single cloud that I added a little bit of repositionable tape to the back to secure that down to my cardstock. And I am having it kind of hang off of my circle a little bit so it looks like a continuous scene is going to be hidden. Then I'm going to come in and start ink blending with that saltwater taffy once again. I start off of the stencil and blend my way on. Now, when I get down towards the bottom where the grass is, I do kind of lessen the pressure that I'm putting on my brush because I don't want that to be a really harsh blue down there. I want it to kind of soften as it gets towards the top of that grass. Then I'm going to add, again, that little bit of contrast with the confetti cake, just going around the outer edges of that circle. Now that my scene is done, I will just carefully twist off that cloud. The repositionable tape is really easy to rub off with your finger. So even though this was 3 stencils to create the scene, it is a really simple scene and makes a great one-layer card. One last piece I wanted to show you for these card panels is I'm going to step up one of the panels, and that is going to be the one where I used the rectangle with the breezy stencil. For this, I wanted to add a little bit of interest to the outside or to the border that's going around that masked off area. To do this, I'm using the diagonal stitched rectangles. I took 2 of them that are pretty similar in size. I'm going to line them up around my masked off rectangle, and I'm going to hold these 2 together with Post-it tape. I really did take my time to make sure that the margins were even all the way around the edge, but it may be easier to do one at a time. So this particular die does not cut out the rectangles, it's adding these diagonal stitched lines. So it's just a really nice way to kind of step up a clean and simple card. Off screen, I went ahead and stamped my sentiments and added my images. I didn't need any foam squares or foam tape because I did add that additional cardstock piece behind it, which was a perfect amount of dimension. One of the things that I really love about clean and simple cards is it makes it easy to come in and add some additional things like a white jelly roll pen or even some stickles, which I plan on doing. When I don't have a lot going on the card fronts themselves, it's these small things that really help take my card up just a notch or two. So I added some white highlights to my birds, and then I also came in with some unicorn stickles and added that to the bee's wings and also outlined the clouds on my rainbow. And that will finish off my inspiration that I have to share with you using the Let's Stamp Together kit for March 2024, featuring tailored expressions. I hope you enjoyed these card projects as much as I do, and they inspire you to create with your kit. Thanks so much for spending time with me today.